Boom. There we go. Welcome to Packman Paranormal Live. I'm Ernie Pack, and I'm your host tonight. Denise is trying to slide into retirement from the podcast scene. So it's going to be me, and you're going to have to put up with me. So there. I see we already got some folks on here. So I want to say hi to everybody I can real quick. There's Miss Denise right there. Hello, Carol. Courtney, always here. Icy in the house. Brandy in the house. Hello, everybody. Tonight's show, I have invited on three guys who they booked an investigation here at the house, the Ditto House Inn, the real Ditto House Inn, 1841 on Facebook. You can find us that way. For Friday, the 13th of June, they were all really looking forward to the collaboration of bringing their three teams together to investigate and coming to check out the house. They had a great investigation. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. The next night, Big Andy and Stephen went down to the Bell Witch Cave down in Adams, Tennessee with Todd and Leanne Eskew of the Black Wolf Paranormal and had a great night down there. And then Mark had to get back home. He had some other obligations, had to do dad stuff and work stuff and that kind of stuff. But he couldn't join us. But Sunday night, they came back up and we went to Fort Duffield and we brought along the one and only Squatch Man Greg Yost to meet them up there and see if they could get an experience with the forest people. So they had an epic weekend. We all went to the Red Yeti, had a nice steak. It was a great time. But I'm going to bring them on here, let them talk about their weekend because I think it was just a great time. We really enjoyed having them and can't wait to have them back. So there's Mark, Big Daddy Andy in the house, and Mr. One and Only Digging Deeper Paranormal, Stephen Kmetz. So how you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good. Doing good.
Good. Did I miss anything in the intro?
I don't think so.
I didn't? All right. Was the steak okay at Red Yeti?
Steak was great.
I think Stephen said that several times.
Flavorful. Flavor. So much flavor.
Very flavorful, yes. Lots of flavor. I'm used to the bland food out here on the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, they do it well. There's no place better. But let's talk a little bit about you guys coming here to the real Ditto House Inn. Well, I'll let Mark, you start. We'll just kind of go around the clock here. Mark, Big Daddy Andy, and Stephen, what was your first impressions when you got here, and what'd you think?
Well, I was just looking forward to, like you said, getting together with two guys that I've known them for online for a while now. I've never met in person, but finally getting to meet them and investigate with them, and it was a great experience. Not only investigating with them, but you and Denise were amazing hosts. About all I can say about that. But the time at the Ditto House, first off, like I said, it's a beautiful place. You've done a great job with it as far as bringing it back to how it was. Being haunted, yes, absolutely. I say it was the first. Well, we'll just go ahead and jump into it. After getting stuff brought into the house, getting ready for the tour and stuff. Everybody accounted for. Everybody staying in the parlor room, talking, and we was probably in there for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
something like that. And of course, you hear the typical haunted house creaking door open, and the front door just comes wide open. Nobody around it. It was right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I said it was just a really good experience. We'll get into a little bit more of what happened, but I just wanted to say, I really appreciate Andy inviting me out there, and then meeting with Stephen. It was just really great.
Well, Andy's got another night here at the house owed to him because he was the leading donor in our fundraiser we recently had for a friend of mine here in town. So he won the night here at the Ditto house for that. So you never know. He might invite you back sometime.
You're both invited back.
Breaking news.
Yeah, well, I have to come back because, before we started, I had all these plans, all these ideas that I wanted to do, and didn't do any of it because we got so caught up with what was happening at the time. So
Yeah.
I definitely have to get back.
Well, you're more than welcome. You know that. Andy, what do you think?
I really loved it. The house, like I said, Mark said, the house is beautiful. You got everything top to bottom. Like you said, the door opened. I just looked back and said, "Come on in." Didn't see nobody though. But yeah,
And that was just the beginning.
yeah. You got, like you said, you've got a beautiful house.
Well,
Very
thank you.
comfortable. Even when I slept upstairs with the grumpy guy, no problems. Didn't bother me at all. I was upset. Thought he might.
He did act up throughout the night. We'll talk about that. Kind of played havoc with the
camera
system.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, anything to add?
Well, I second everything Mark and Andy said. The house just incredible, beautiful. You two were the perfect hosts.
Thank you.
Can't say enough about you, about the house. People just have to get out and experience it like we did. It was a great night, and finally getting a chance to meet Mark and also investigate with Mark, that was a highlight. Like Mark said, we've known each other now for a while online. This is our first time meeting face to face. I've known Andy for a while, have investigated with Andy, and it was a long wait. Andy told me about this at the Supernatural Soiree back last October, and I was like, yeah, I'm down. So, it was a great night.
Yeah. Well, from our perspective, we'd met Andy a couple of times. I think, at least once at ISS at a Get Haunted event.
And at the soiree.
You were at the soiree. Yeah, you were at the soiree. We met Stephen at the soiree. Not sure I'd ever met Mark. Been friends online for I don't know how long, because I got a lot of folks in the paranormal community that I'm friends with, and I'm not sure how long I've been friends with a lot of them. But I've followed Mark. I've known who he was for quite some time. And so, for Denise and us, having all of you guys here was a great honor for us too. And just, bringing friends into the house, we love to welcome people into our house, period. But for it to be folks that we, have an association with or know of at least, that makes it more special. And you guys were great guests. I'll put it that way.
Thank you.
And the house seemed to like you being here because it acted out.
Yeah, it was pretty active.
Mark, you talked about the door opening as soon as you guys got here. Well, then after we got done with the walkthrough, you went and started plugging in cameras, and then what happened?
Yeah, I started setting up the DVR system. Had set one up in the parlor. Camera was working fine. Decided to set one up in the children's room. Came back downstairs and looked at it on the monitor. Everything's working fine. As I'm looking at it, it goes completely black and says no power. So I look around and everybody's still around. So I'm like, okay, who unplugged it? What's going on? So I run upstairs, look at it, and it was unplugged, and the outlet I had it plugged in, y'all have a little rocking cradle right there.
Mhm.
So if it happened to fall out, it would have just fell straight down.
Yeah.
It was probably about a foot away from the outlet.
Yeah.
And I guess they just wanted to be playful right off the bat. So
Yeah.
Once I got went back downstairs, I told Stephen came up there and saw it. But once I went back down, got a power strip, plugged that in, they didn't mess with that again as far as unplugging goes. But like I said, I would have thought it just fell out. But if it wasn't for the fact that the outlet was directly behind that little crib.
Yeah, there wasn't room. It would have just either fallen in the crib or down between it and the wall.
Straight down. But
Yeah.
no, like I said, it was a good foot away from it.
Yeah. And like Brandy says over here in the comments, it sounds like Rob's experience. When Rob from Get Haunted was here, we've talked about it before on the show several times. He was staying in this room and had his charging block where he plugs in his hearing aid, his phone, and everything. His whole big block came unplugged over here and was a couple feet across the floor from the outlet. And then, like Denise says here, when he was here just a month or so ago for the trifecta, same kind of thing happened. Everything was unplugged for him again. So that seems to be one of the things here that they like to do. And I don't know why. But
Yeah, so when you can get that happen to different people, I mean, that's really shows you something there. So
yeah, it's I don't understand it, like I say, but it's a common occurrence here. So, Andy, what happened next for you after all that? I know it was kind of a rapid fire sequence. We had REM pods going off up in the children's room while we were sitting there talking.
Went on the stairs, one of the Muppet type, not Muppet, it was a, what the hell was it?
It's like a little stuffed.
Yes, Nightmare on Elm Street or Christmas or whatever that movie.
Nightmare Before, it's Jack Skellington.
One of those characters on it.
Yeah.
And almost as soon as they turned it on, they started playing with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was on the main staircase.
Right.
Yeah. And then Stephen, do you know what happened next? Do you remember anything next?
Well, with Andy's little stuffed toy on the stairs there, you literally had to touch it in order to make those eyes blink. And those eyes were blinking pretty much nonstop when we were setting up. Andy had his camera on it there sitting on the steps, but you literally had to touch that little doll in order to make it go off. So something was touching it. I remember a lot of activity up in the children's room. The REM pod on the bed just would not shut up. It just kept going off and off and off and off. I finally walked up there. As soon as I walked into the room, nothing. It just shut off. And then the one room behind you, Asshole's room. I know you've renamed it, like the river or something, but
the Riverview Suite.
Okay.
Yeah, we went for a nicer name than
that. That room. Every single time I walked into that room that night, that room affected me. The only time it did not affect me was when I went in there, went into the closet, sat in that closet by myself, doing an EVP session. Nothing happened. I did not feel a thing. But every other time I walked into that room, that door right there behind you, it affected me. And that was a fun room later on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were saying that it affected you every time you went in.
Yeah.
Probably the first 2 times that I went in there, I felt nothing.
Mhm.
That's when multiple people were in that room. But the third time when I went there by myself is the time that I felt just off balance. Like
Mhm.
it was just, I couldn't hardly stand up straight.
Yeah, you get that almost like on a ship, you're that vertigo, and I was getting that the heart racing and getting anxious a little bit every time I walked in there. That room had a different feel. Definitely had a different feel from the whole rest of the house.
Yeah, it always does. I'll tell you. I mean, I was in there just about an hour ago, going back to use that bathroom, and yeah, it felt weird then. It was the first time I'd been in there in a couple of days, and it had that odd, just kind of off feeling to it.
That
You
was
want to
where
get out there.
Tommy Wobble started, or
And
Tony Wobble.
that's the room you slept in that night, right, Andy?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
slept in that room, and
That's probably where I got the wobble from.
Weeble. Yeah.
And you got the other name from Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Squatchman kept, Mark, you weren't there, but Squatchman was calling him Tony all night. And Stephen and I had been calling him a Weeble because he was kind of wobbly there all day. And I don't know if it was moonshine or what, but he was wobbling.
No, I didn't have nothing to drink.
Didn't fall over, just kept
We
wobbling.
started calling him a Weeble, so then his name became Tony Weeble the rest of the weekend. But well, let's see. All that stuff happened. And then we get, for those of you who've never been here for one of our investigations, it's not our investigation, it's your investigation, but for one of the investigations here at the Ditto House, if you guys have us stay here with you, that's what we do. We just kind of hang out. We'll stay out of your way or we'll be involved. And if we stay with you, Denise won't shut up. She talks too much. So you spend half the night just kind of hanging out and talking. And so while we're doing that, we could hear the REM pods going off upstairs. There were a couple of times when we thought we'd hear voices or footsteps or something like that. And look, Denise loves me. Look at that. But then we went out and just started watching the DVR system, Mark. And how'd that go?
Well, I've had that DVR system for a couple of years now, and I've never had any problems with this. It is a wireless system, so if you do go too far out of range, it might cause a little problems. But within the house like that right there, there's plenty of range for it. But we did set the camera up not only in the parlor, but we had one in the grumpy man's room, or asshole's room, whatever you want to call him.
That room right through the door right there.
And everything was going good with it. I mean, we could watch the camera. Everything was working fine until Stephen went upstairs and opened the closet door.
Yeah.
When Stephen opened the closet door, right as he was going toward it, Ernie, you and I both saw something come out of the closet. And then as soon as he opened the door, something else came out.
Yes.
And ever since that had happened, it just caused havoc with the camera. Every time there was nobody in the room, it seemed like it was functioning correctly. Anytime anybody went upstairs, it would completely malfunction.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
There was, Stephen, Marianne Clark keeps trying to say hello to you. And
Hello, Marianne.
And
Damien's on. Hello, Damien.
Damien in the house.
Damien.
He must have had a few extra Red Bulls today because he's been on Andy's live today. He was on my live, and now he's on this live.
He's always on. He never sleeps. But it seemed to be when Denise walked in the room that one time. Remember, we never saw her.
Right.
Never saw her. And then we said, well, let's test it. Go back up there. We didn't see her. And then poof, there she was in the closet.
Yep.
You didn't see her walk up there. She just appeared in the closet.
Yeah, like a magic trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it seemed that, it seemed to happen most when Denise would go in the room. I mean, it happened with all of us. Stephen had one of those encounters where he just kind of appeared and then disappeared. I think with me one time it froze or something on me, and the same happened with Andy. I mean, it happened with all of us.
Right.
But yeah, with Denise, it seemed to be pretty consistent.
And not until the door was open. When the door closed, the camera wasn't tracking anybody when they wasn't in there.
Right.
But when the door was open, it kept tracking a figure.
Yeah. Yeah. Like to the left of the door.
Right. And I think that's where you said that you had felt a shove when you went in there, Ernie.
Yes. Yeah. I got pushed sideways from, it was like someone was standing by that door on the left side of that door as you're walking toward it. And like someone was just waiting for me to come by there and just shoved me when I walked by. So, I mean, I don't know what it is. Like we've always just called him, the grumpy guy or the asshole. Because he doesn't do anything malicious or hurtful. He's just a jerk.
Now, the funny thing when all this was going on, we were witnessing this live as it was happening. We were going upstairs. I went upstairs a few times, shut the door, reopened it, just to check things out. Then I decided to get my camera and film the monitor downstairs. Now, when I did that, everything was fine. People walked up, people walked down. You saw them walk into the room, walk out, no glitches whatsoever. When I shut my camera off, all hell broke loose again. So it was like when I was filming to get the evidence, nothing happened, which I found interesting. It's like they knew I was filming, and it was like, no, we're not going to do anything now. But that was really interesting. And like I asked Mark during the live, and he has never had any camera issues like this whatsoever with these cameras before. And they were in close proximity because the house is relatively small. That was an interesting time with that camera in the room.
And even though it didn't show up while you were filming yours, it is the DVR system. So I haven't had a chance to go look at it yet, but it should all be recorded on the DVR. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. When Brian Paoni was here for the trifecta, we had a similar situation where we were having lots of interaction. It was up in the children's room, and Brian went to go live on his phone to show it, and the minute he did that, everything stopped. Mm-hmm. We were having REM pods going off, tripwires, you name it, music boxes, dead bells, everything was going crazy. He says, I'm going to do a live. He goes live, nothing. Oh, yeah. Denise brought this up. We all heard that.
Yeah.
And, we thought it was you because you were the only person that wasn't accounted for at the time. We thought it must have been you.
Yeah. Well, just like I heard that crash downstairs. Right. I was down at the bottom of the staircase, heard this loud crash from upstairs. I went upstairs to check it out. I blinded Mark with my flashlight because he was sitting right behind you, Ernie, in the murder room, looking at the opposite wall with his back this way to the female.
Right.
and that's where he heard the crash from. So we all went in there. Nothing seemed out of place, and then you were playing around with certain objects in there to see if you can make the sound of what we heard. Now, I did listen back to, because I had a DVR in there running the whole night. I found out I snore. Because like I said, I ran the whole night. That's the room I slept in. But yeah, I ran it back, and there is a crash on there. But it is not as loud as what I perceived downstairs. Yeah. Because you could hear something, and then you hear me come up the steps, and then you hear Mark and myself talking, and then, but I did pick up a crash on the DVR that I had in that room. But like I said, it wasn't as loud as what we heard, because it did sound loud, right, Mark? I mean, that happened right.
Because I was sitting, like you said, I was sitting on the floor, like right behind where you're at, Ernie, just right in the middle of the floor, looking at the door behind you that leads into the other room, because I had seen, the only way I could describe it is it was pitch dark, because I didn't even have a flashlight or nothing with me, but it was a darkness came over, and it got darker than dark. I mean, it got so dark, you could tell a difference, and then it lightened back up, and it came right from behind that door. So I just sat in the middle of the floor and watched that for a while, and then that's when the big crash happened back behind me. So yeah, I don't know what that was.
Yeah, there's no telling. I mean, we tell people that this is Kentucky's most haunted house. We found that out after we bought it. We Googled it, and it said, 6 reasons why the Ditto House Inn is Kentucky's most haunted house. And we were like, oh, cool. And then, we moved in, and yeah, yeah, I think they're right about that. I mean, the activity here, there's a lot of, I've investigated a lot of places, and I have, as most folks know, I was a guide at Waverly Hills for a long time. We've hosted public events at various places around this part of the country, and all active places, but there is no place where the activity is as in your face and consistent as this. Most of the time paranormal activity is really subtle. It's something, something you catch out of the corner of your eye, or if you're running a camera, just a strange light anomaly that you can't explain, or a shadow you can't account for, or whatever. Here, it's like doors open, the front door of the house, which is pretty securely closed when it's closed, just
right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Things like that happen here, and it's hard to explain it to people until they come and experience it for themselves. But now you guys had just an awesome night that just seemed to go on, and it never really flattened out that I can remember. I think we just finally got tired and went to bed.
Yeah, as soon as I laid down, I was out. I mean, long drive and long day, and but the next morning at breakfast, the kids' room was very active while we were eating. The REM pods and all kinds of stuff going off up in the kids' room, and then started to hear that talking up there.
Yeah.
And you and I walked over to the steps, Ernie, and I was thinking something at the time you were saying it. It sounded like a young female reading a book or reading a story to other younger kids.
Yeah,
like you said, it had a cadence to it, and it did. And we stood there for about 2 minutes just listening to this voice.
It was like a nursery rhyme or something. And like the way that we kind of collaborated and decided it sounded like maybe an older sister reading a nursery rhyme to her younger sister or something, because the older voice wasn't an old voice.
No.
And then every now and then you'd hear the younger voice chime in with something.
Yeah, and that's
And
the first thing that popped into my head when I was hearing this while I was standing there, that somebody was reading to the kids.
and I mean it was a great investigation. Yeah, like Denise says, she had just put nursery rhyme books in there that previous week.
Before we came.
Yeah, yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they are in the
material.
in that little cabinet that's behind the door in the children's room. That's where she put those.
Wow.
Mm.
Did not know that.
Patrick asks if the chair's still being moved to face the fireplace. Patrick, actually, the chair, the way that we always place the chair is to face the fireplace. That blue rocking chair that's in the living room, guys, is the one he's talking about. And it turns to face the couch. We'll come downstairs in the morning, and it's like someone was having a conversation with someone sitting on the couch, that yellow couch in that room. So, yeah, and that's still happening. It's not every day that it happens, but, you know, I mean, once every week or two, you'll come down and it'll be pointed in a different direction. So, yeah. The house is just really, it's my favorite haunted location. And you guys got to meet Red. You got to see our beautiful view out back. I mean,
the view out back is.
Me. I mean, come on, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Mark had to leave.
Well, I will be back. So
Yes, you
there's
will be back.
some things
We
I
will
still
be
need to
back.
some things I still need to look at though. Definitely on the DVR, where if anybody who knows me knows I'm not a orb person at all. I can't stand people talking about orbs.
Right.
But what we saw on the cameras were not orbs. They were the what we saw in the grumpy man's room was probably, I'd say, a 6-inch vertical flash of light.
Now, is this when I was in the room?
No, this this was right after somebody left.
It was after Denise had walked out, I think.
Right. And it
when
was
we saw that one.
Right in the middle of the room above the bed, about a 6-inch vertical flash of light right there. And then
yeah, I was seeing flashes of light periodically throughout the night in different areas of the house. I thought it was just my eyes playing tricks.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. Also,
flashes of light here and there.
Mostly in the parlor.
Yeah,
it was like lightning bugs, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was seeing.
You'd see the pulsating lights. So
you see what Denise says there.
Very.
Yep.
And we'll be talking about them soon.
Just say, sounds crazy. Sounded crazy to me about 5 years ago.
I'm a believer now.
No, yeah. Definitely.
Not anymore. But no, I mean, the whole night, like I say, and then even the next morning, Patrick Doyle asks if we ever see or feel anything just off the land alone. I don't know if did you guys ever have any shadow figures or anything outside the house or anything like that? I know other folks that have been here have experienced that, because this entire town is haunted, like Denise said. You guys didn't see anything outside the house, did you?
Not outside, no.
We saw some rain.
Yeah, there was some rain.
I did see rain.
There was. Yeah, you guys ran through a couple of monsoons.
Yeah.
I think it rained on you all the way home, didn't it, Mark?
Oh yeah. From the time I left, about a 7.5, 8-hour drive home, it rained the entire way.
Yeah. Hopefully next time it'll be drier for you. But
because Denise was not keeping the rain away from me. She kept it away from.
She kept it away from Octagon Hall, because Todd and Leanne's son was getting married at Octagon Hall.
And then they kept it away from the
Bell Witch Cave. That's right. All right. Let's see here. Well, let's talk about the Bell Witch Cave, because Saturday night you guys went and spent it with Todd and Leanne down there. And how'd that go?
went great. I mean, the place is beautiful. That was like a bucket list item that came up at the last minute, and the place is gorgeous. The cave is incredible. The grounds are incredible. Andy and I had a few experiences. The first one being at the Indian burial grounds there, which are right above the cave. And then we had one at the cabin where something was throwing something at us. I mean, Andy, talk about the tree. Because Andy's more of a sensitive than myself or Mark. And Andy can feel stuff. Andy senses things when I don't, when other people don't. He can see and sense things. So
like does he sense shadows?
yeah, I mean, he senses people.
See what I did there?
Aren't there? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
see,
there you go. That's
the
probably
idea there was my son was sensing things, and I always saw the shadows. Now I'm kind of doing both. But yeah, with the tree, I don't know. I got the energy all the way back up both arms, and then Steve put his hand on the tree, and I recognized that as somebody I knew. And
now,
Todd did the
you
same
have no
thing.
idea I'm there. He's
Yeah,
got
because
his
I got my eyes
closed,
closed,
and
and
Todd's just asking him questions.
it
So
was pretty neat. And
The tree they're talking about, for those who don't know, this is up by the Indian burial grounds at the Bell Witch Cave. There's a tree there that is just, well, we went to the witch's tree, didn't we?
right.
in Louisville, you
Same
took
kind of
a tour
energy.
after we ate at the Red Yeti.
Yeah. But
Got
this tree is half dead. It's dead on one side.
Yeah.
And
alive
very
on the
much alive on the other side.
Yeah.
And then you feel the energy coming out of the ground there too.
Yeah.
I mean, I even felt that. I felt a sensation I've never felt before, where Todd had walked down the hill a little bit and said, okay, everybody walk towards me. Stop when you feel something. You have your hands out. I felt like a tingling, almost like a numbness, but it was almost like an electrical type of feeling in my hands. Then he walked a little farther down the hill and said, okay, keep walking, and stop if it goes away or it feels different. I stopped because it felt like it was going up my arms now, this like electricity.
Yeah.
So it was such a weird feeling. I've never felt it before. And this was on top of the Indian burial grounds. And that was just such a neat experience for me. And then, the next night I pretty much felt the same thing with the blue light. But that was the first time I ever felt anything like that before. And that was really a neat experience.
And then both Todd and Leanne told me separately that I was an empath. So I got to look into that more.
I've been out on some investigations with you, and you pick up on things that
You pick up on energies. I mean,
yeah.
I can sense when you're sensing something. And
Today there was a Bigfoot shadowing us all day, all along the right side, all
that's
day
what
long.
I'm saying while watching the live.
And I could feel the energy. If I was a little closer to it, at that point, I feel it more. And Damien was telling me on the live, saying, "Andy, do you sense anything to your right?" I said, "Oh yeah, he's been there all day."
That's cool. Yeah, Ryan, the witch's tree is on 6th Street in Louisville, right by Central Park. There's, like Denise says, there's a website for it. It's worth checking out.
Beautiful area. The old Victorian big mansion type houses and everything. Beautiful area.
And once you go down the street, you won't miss it.
Right.
That sticks
It's
right
the
up.
strangest looking tree you will ever see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something else. Well, so you guys went to the Bell Witch Cave. You had a good time. You got up. You had breakfast issues. And then you came back up here.
Yeah, we never got to eat that day.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we went out to lunch, but never got lunch.
Right.
We saw what time it was, and we're like, "Oh crap!" It's like they're in a different time zone.
Yeah.
So we headed back up and hung out on the back porch with you for a while. And as soon as we got there, you told us you had a surprise for us, and it was like a surprise. I mean, for everything you've done for us already, and you got a surprise for us, and that's when you told us that Red Yost, Squatchman, was going to be joining us over at Fort Duffield that night. He was on his way over to the house, and it was, I mean, epic doesn't even begin to scratch the surface that night.
Yeah.
Mark, you can chime in with whatever you want anytime you're ready.
Sorry, Mark. We really wish you were there because it was.
Yeah, we talked about you all night, and not in a bad way. We were like, man, I wish Mark could have experienced it.
We had a great time at the Cave, Todd.
Yeah, they said that you and Leanne were okay, but they couldn't wait to get back here to me and Denise.
How was that moonshine, Todd?
I think Todd liked the moonshine. He doesn't have any more. I'll just put it down.
Oh, okay.
But
Nice.
so we waited for the rain to quit, and then we headed up to Fort Duffield and just kind of walked around a little bit to start with, and then
you showed us around the floor, gave us the history, and
once it got dark, things kind of picked up pretty quickly, didn't they?
We started seeing the soldiers out in the field there. And
there are two different areas out there that there were shadows seem to be walking back and forth.
Yeah, it's like there's soldiers still on patrol up there, just still kind of walking the wall, guarding the fort. Doesn't always happen, but it happens pretty often. We've had several people witness that. We've gotten some great full-bodied apparition photos up there of just that. And it's a special place. I always got to remind people that, it's a Civil War fort, and we're there. Primarily, we started doing the investigations up there because it's a Civil War fort, and we figured there were Civil War spirits there, which there are. And then everything has kind of evolved into this is a place that has a little bit of everything. It's got spirits, it's got squatches, and we've had some weird lights in the sky.
It's a magical place. Yep, that sure did.
Let's talk about that blue flash of light. We talked about it before we went live here just a little, but who wants to describe it? Stephen, Andy, which one of you?
Want to go for it, Andy?
It was like
we'll both describe it. Well,
a ring came around, but it was big, almost like, and it just, you felt the energy come down out of the sky from it. And it was kind of, I don't know, more like a portal or something.
Yeah, it started behind, there was this big bright flash of blue behind us, and then it came around to our, it just like traveled around us to our right. And you felt it. Like I said before we went live, I mean, the hair on my arms stood up. I felt the energy in my arms, like the electricity. I mean, you actually felt it. And that's when Denise said, we're going to have a great night. And I mean, it was unbelievable.
Now, question for you I saw the Haunted Discoveries episode, and was it anything like what they caught?
Yes. because it happened more than once. The first initial flash we saw was the biggest, and that one moved.
That was the one that
Other flashes
did a semicircle around us.
The other flashes just lit up the area we were in. But it seemed like every time we saw a flash, there was something that happened. We got activity or whatever. It was like Denise said, it was almost like some type of portal opening up. But yeah, it was just like that flash.
Yeah.
And it wasn't lightning. And like Ernie said last week, it rained during the day. But when we got there to the fort, the skies cleared. I mean, you looked up and saw 1,000,001 stars, not a cloud in the sky. It was just clear as can be. It was.
Yeah. I cannot explain the light anomalies that we see up there. I mean, like you said, Mark, I mean, they documented it with the EMCCD camera on Haunted Discoveries. And in that episode, if you remember, Chad Cummings was talking about how, we started chasing because we thought it was someone up there with a flashlight or a bright flashlight shining it on the trees, because we were seeing this light going across the trees the night that Chad was there for their first investigation. And then right after that's when all of us on that investigation saw a Bigfoot walk across the fort grounds. I mean, just plain as day, the classic Bigfoot, looked like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons or something, walked across the grounds of the fort. And it was, I don't know. The light anomalies, like I say, I mean, several people that have visited the fort have seen that same kind of thing. And I don't know what it is, but it seems to be a signal that something else is getting ready to happen.
Not lightning.
Yeah, definitely
not. No. Yeah. Denise says, then the fairies decided to come out and play.
Oh, yeah. Hundreds of them.
That was life changing. That was. Now, I wrote on my page a follow up to what I wrote about what we experienced that night. Now, when we were at the cemetery, Denise was shouting out to the forest people about Andy and I. We were friends of yours. We were good people, and she was vouching for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I firmly believe that's why Andy and I had the experience we did with those neon green fluorescent forest creatures. They were checking us out to make sure we were good people, and Denise, they checked her out just to make sure that she was telling the truth. That's kind of what I believe there, because the three of us had the experience. Denise first, me, and then Andy. And I still don't believe it.
It was wild.
And I mean, I'm sure that there are going to be people that hear about the neon green lights. You're in Kentucky in June. We have lightning bugs. Duh. No, these were not lightning bugs. We saw plenty of lightning bugs.
Are this big?
Yeah.
Lightning bugs.
And this was something different, definitely. Let's answer this question. Damien had another question earlier too that I'll get back to here in a minute. But did you guys get the feeling that it was investigating or checking us out, or coming and going?
Well, that's what I just said with the initial things. I believe when we first saw these creatures, walking, crawling, floating above the grass there, whatever they were doing, I believe they were checking us out, especially Andy and myself. They were there checking us out, making sure we were who Denise said we were, and that led to further activity later on. So yeah, I believe we were being checked out. These creatures, they seemed intelligent. You talked to them, they responded to you, which is just
called them in and they came.
I mean, here I'm talking to this green thing saying, come here, come on, come over here, see me. Just like
it did.
And it did. And it got within an inch of my fingertips and vanished. Nothing was there.
Yeah, we turned on the lights and looked.
Yeah.
Got the cell phone out with the flashlight on it, and it's like there's nothing there.
It's
people think you're nuts when you tell a story like that, but
Yeah.
no,
but when you experience it,
this happened.
you know you're not nuts.
I'm telling you, life changing. I was on, like you, Ernie. I was on the fence about fairies. I was like, okay, well, but no, they exist. There's forest creatures out there that people don't know about. And what did I say when after that happened to me? I stood up. I was on the verge of crying. I really was. And I told you, it's like I felt like I'm accepted now. That I'm accepted into their world. That now they've accepted me into a world that few people ever get to see. It was a bit emotional for me, but just amazing.
Yeah. It's a matter, I think, of you being open, any of us being open to the possibilities that are out there, and then those beings, whatever they might be, finally entrusting you to open the door to their world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's basically how I felt. I mean, they accepted me into their world. And the funny thing is, out of all of this, it's the first time Greg had ever seen anything like that before too, which was amazing. Greg had never witnessed anything like this before.
No.
So this was a first for everybody, pretty much. But yeah, that was. And then
I never thought about fairies until I saw them.
Right. Yeah. That's how it was with me. I mean, we have, and if you read Bigfoot encounters or hear people talk about Bigfoot encounters, Stephen, I know you talked about it, how you used to check out every book on Bigfoot. You read every encounter out there and all those kinds of things. How many times do people talk about seeing orbs of light just prior to or during a Bigfoot encounter? They don't go into what those orbs of light might actually be. And I think that they kind of travel together, to be honest, the fairies and the forest people. So good night, Eric. Glad you tuned in again, brother. Sorry Denise wasn't here. You had to put up with me, but glad you tuned in. But no, I mean it's one of those things like I've said before. I mean, 5 years ago, if someone would have told me you're going to see fairies, I would have said, okay, well, sure, yeah, okay, show me, and then I started seeing them, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, that happened. Kind of like when the door opened at the house. Well, that just happened, But the real upshot of the night came a little bit after the fairy encounters. Not long after that, Squatch Man walked out to the edge of the woods and called on his buddy Big Red. And Big Red has shown himself to Squatch Man all over the country. Any place that he's gone, Montana, Washington State, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, you name it. Anywhere he goes, if he calls upon Big Red usually makes an appearance. So, Stephen, Andy, you want to talk about what Greg said when he walked out to the edge of the woods?
Go on, Andy.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Stephen. I think he turned it back over to you.
Yeah.
Well, he asked for his buddy Big Red to either do a tree knock, shake a tree, or even push a tree over. It wasn't even 30 seconds went by. You hear this, what sounded like a grunt, and then this, what sounded like a very large tree, come crashing down to the ground with a large thud. It happened behind us. We were looking to the forest this way, where we were seeing all the green fluorescent forest creatures at the time, and it happened behind us, and we quick turned around, but it was unmistakable, a large tree coming down, hitting the ground. And like I wrote about, it wasn't a branch breaking. You didn't hear a crack or anything like something falling from the tree. This was a whole tree coming down very loudly. And soon after that, we were over there in that area. We did see some eye shine.
The red eyes.
And yeah. And then right after that, we heard the tree knock from that area where the tree came down. And then
there was
off in the forest, way off in the forest on the other side, you heard a response. And off in that forest on the other side, it was forest, and then the fort basically borders, I believe, on Fort Knox, right? The Army. Yes. There is nothing back there except forest, and then Army Reserve area, Army base area, Fort Knox.
Yeah.
And that's where we
miles of woods.
That's where we heard the response come from. And then after that, everything quieted down, and we all know it. We all felt it. You could just feel almost like the energy just
said, "Okay, we're done."
Yeah.
We went back, sat at the fire pit, and a few more green creatures appeared behind us. This went up, got close to another one, and like before, poof, got her flashlight out, and there was nothing there. But yeah, that was the tree coming over was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, we've talked about it before on our podcasts and at events and everything. We've spoken about it. There was a night where we had Squatchman went out to the edge of the woods and he asked for something epic. And 7 trees got pushed over in a circle around us. And they were big trees. And there's no reason for that to happen. Yes, trees fall in the woods. That happens. You can walk through the woods and you'll see trees laying down. That happens. But when it happens right after someone asks for it, what are the odds of that?
Yep.
And I've seen that guy do it a couple of times now, and it's mind blowing.
And just with everything going that night, leading up to that, and just the tree knocks afterwards, it was just like, it's like, hey, I'm here, and it's like, boom, it's like, yep, yeah, there's another.
I'm here, and you're over there.
It was, just unbelievable.
Well, we've been on for an hour. I know. Hang on, Kevin Hacker, who's out of Iowa. He's with. Let me make sure I get this right, Kevin. I think it's Ghostorical Investigations. He was up at Fort Duffield. About a month and a half ago, maybe. And we saw that night, what looked like a light source down in the woods, down over the hill from the fire pit, like straight in front of you. Actually, it kind of came from our left, down in the woods, and moved across, and then seemed to come up toward the fire pit, come up that hill, and then just was gone. And yes, that was different than the green lights that we're talking about that we saw. These lights that we saw, Kevin, were like like Stephen described, they were about that big. And then when you looked closely, it looked like there's a little body right in the center of it. It's just like a globe with a little body in the center, just like Tinkerbell.
When we were talking to them, you could almost feel them like they were looking at you.
Yeah.
You had that sense that they were actually looking at you. Because they did respond. They responded to all our voices. They would stop. They would, it was. Now the light you're talking about, that came up the field, did that come up above the ground, or was that on the ground itself?
It was down in the woods. It was like there was a huge dome of light down in the woods. It moved across from the left to the right to like dead in front of where we were sitting there at the fire pit. And then kind of came toward us and then was gone.
Okay, so this was
similar to the light that had appeared behind us and then circled around to our right, when we were up there. But this was when Kevin was there. It kind of came from the left up in front of us and then moved across and came toward us.
Yeah, because all the neon green creatures we saw were like at ground level. But there were some that went into the underbrush of the forest there that seemed to get a little higher now, and they were going through that underbrush there like with no problem, like effortlessly.
Yeah, and silently, and
they made no sound whatsoever.
It's just fascinating to see. I can't explain it to anybody that hasn't seen it any better than what we've done. And I'm sure that even with us trying to explain it the best we can, words don't get it until you actually experience it. Mark, I know you've got to go to work in a couple hours. Do you want to jump off? I mean, you're welcome to. We'd probably go for a few more minutes anyway.
I'm good right now.
Okay. All right. Anytime you got to go, just raise your hand and say, I'm out, and I'll say good night to you. We're not going to stay on much longer, but just didn't want to just say, okay, well, that's the show. See you, bye. But I mean, everything that happened from, your first night here at the house, to that Sunday night up at the fort, to me, in the over 2 years that we've lived here and been doing things at the fort and doing investigations here at the house, as far as the combination, it was one of the most epic nights or weekends, I guess, that we've had since we've been here at the house and at Fort Duffield.
It was my life.
It was amazing, and a lot of folks have come and experienced things at the fort similar to that. They say the same thing. Rob Stackowitz still talks about it being a life-changing experience the night that he had the eye shine and everything that happened with him with the forest people up there. So, I mean, it makes me feel good to be able to share that with people and be a part of those experiences with them.
Yeah, Fort Duffield is a hidden gem. It's a magical place. I can't wait to get back.
Yeah. Well, get your butts down here. And Mark, get up here again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we will be back. All of us. We'll be back.
Well, you guys know you got an open invitation.
Appreciate that.
Denise says there's someone walking around in the hallway right now outside our bedroom, and it's not me. I'm sitting here. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate you coming on and sharing this because
thanks for having us.
Appreciate having us. Thank you.
Well, do you guys have anything you want to promote coming up? I'll go around. Mark, you want to talk about your team or anything you guys got going on?
Not really. Really, the only thing I've got going on is just I think it's August 23rd. I will be doing Old South Pittsburgh Hospital again.
Is that the one I'm going to?
No, we're doing Brushy Mountain for my birthday.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
that's back in
Brushy Mountain's an amazing place. Cafeteria at Brushy Mountain.
But be headed to Old South Pittsburgh on the 23rd of August. Then, like Andy just asked, on September 27th for my birthday weekend, we will be going to Brushy Mountain. That'd be my first time there. Be a bucket list location.
That's a bucket list for me.
Set some cameras up in the cafeteria there, and be prepared for them to act up. Just saying. We had some epic things happen in the cafeteria at Brushy Mountain on our investigation there. That weird things happened with the cameras. I mean, we sat and watched one of the cameras erase its. I mean, rewind. Everything played backwards, and then it said corrupted file on the SD card. Another person who did happen to catch the most epic part of that night on camera, for some reason his audio did not work just during that segment. So yeah, be prepared for that. So Andy, you got anything going on besides Brushy Mountain with Mark?
I got a couple things. I'm not even sure when they are. So
He's going to do stuff. He's going to travel around. He's going to investigate. He's going to do get haunted stuff. And
I do a lot of spur of the moment stuff. We're going to be
hang out with Richie B and Wojo.
Yeah, we got to camp on overnight. We're going to camp out in the woods up there at the Bridgewater Triangle coming up.
Cool.
In the next couple of weeks. So that'll be different.
Cool. Stephen, what you got going on?
You can normally catch me at Get Haunted events, or catch me at my favorite place, White Hill Mansion. I'm there quite a bit. I love the place. It's like home to me. The place never disappoints. I can't wait over Thanksgiving weekend. I will be down at St. Albans Sanatorium, collabing with Two Brothers Extreme,
Wojo.
Paranormal Theory, along with Rachel and Kevin. So we'll be down there, and that's going to be a fun night. So looking forward to that. And just try to get out as much as I can and collab with great guys like Andy and Mark. So we will be.
They're all right.
We'll be back together again at the Ditto house.
Cool. Yeah, sure. Can't wait to have you guys back. So you can find these guys. Marc Brown is Badasses and Bells Paranormal. Big Daddy Andy is Sensing Shadows. He's the only one that gave me a shirt when they came, y'all. So that's why
I gotta get shirts made.
Somebody hasn't made mine yet, so
I don't know who that would be. I'm kind of using my mouse right now and circling that skull behind you. But you can find Stephen at Digging Deeper Paranormal. And as far as what we got going on, folks, tickets are on sale right now for Spirits, Squatches, and Stories Around the Campfire at Fort Duffield on July 19th. We sold a couple more this afternoon. Those are going fast. I think we're going to be selling out on this one. And you can experience Fort Duffield just like these guys did. Squatchman will be there. Todd and Leanne Eskew of the Black Wolf Paranormal will be there. And Christopher Lee Jansen, the Paranormal Medium, will be there. So that's going to be an epic night. And then we are taking that show on the road to the Rock Island Esoteric Expo and doing a traveling version of Spirits, Squatches, and Stories Around the Campfire at, I believe it's called Black Hawk Forest, right there near Rock Island. And we're going to have Squatchman, Denise, myself, Todd and Leanne, and Greg Bakken is going to join us, and he's going to do a CE5 experiment up there as well. So lots of stuff going on. We're also going to be guest hosting with Todd and Leanne Eskew down at the Bell Witch Cave on September 6th. So anybody that wants to go to the Bell Witch Cave, that's the best time to possibly go. Just saying. Think about it. You're going to have Denise and myself there. Todd and Leanne are okay. Oh yeah, Grizzly Chris. I can't forget Grizzly Chris. Grizzly Chris is also going to be part of our Bigfoot, our Spirit Squatches and Stories Around the Campfire there at Blackhawk Forest. So yeah, we got a lot going on. We're gonna just keep doing what we do. I'll be back next week, maybe. I don't know. I might have to hire a guest host because I can't keep up with all the comments over here and pay attention to the conversation. That's why I needed Denise here to make sure that I stayed on point with everything. I tried, but I want to thank you guys again for coming on. And like I say, it's been great getting to know you guys better and spend some time with you. And we can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, can't wait to get back.
Too. Yeah.
Well, you guys take care. Thank you, everybody over here in the comments. We have tried to keep up with them. I have tried to keep up with them, and Denise has tried to spur me along to keep up with them. Hope I did all right. But anyway, we'll be back next week, folks. We love y'all. We appreciate you. Y'all be good to one another. Don't buy into any of the bullshit that's out there. It's not about competition. It's about collaboration. Just like these guys showed with their investigation here. Collaboration, we can all learn from one another and we can all move forward. So everybody take care and we'll see you next week. And we're still here. I'm trying to end the stream, but